of this one already. Yes, I got the feeling.
The storm of many storms make their way out. Obviously, we know the V8 caused the thunder and the earthquakes and whatever other storms there are. The 4 cylinders are more of an ear-piercing storm, but they all pack a punch and they all provide incredible racing. See Robin Forbes coming out in the V8 Stingray. Always nice to see that beautiful car out on the circuit.
And Vance does help if I put the mic on. And Vance Kearney, they've got a DNF in race 1. I see that Capri is out on the circuit again.
And wow, Frankie, when last, okay, we can't see it right now, we'll wait until it comes into shot a little bit later, but when last have you seen a Ford Ranchero racing with a gas?
Yeah, that's Fire One. That's chasing the Capri around.
It must feel like you're racing if you're a marshal driving Fire One at the tail end of the field.
And then, as a matter of fact, just to let the people know, behind Fire One, you've got the medical vehicles that come around at the tail end of the field. They go behind Fire One. You've got your medical staff that is in the bucky that is just behind that yellow bucky coming out there.
And I believe that bucky, if it's still the Nissan Navara, which I believe it is, that still holds, or not still, it always holds the jaws.
That's a Risto and Debbie.
Yes.
That you'll find in that Nissan Navara.
So you've got a couple of fire extinguishers in the Navara, but also the jaws of life.
Oh yes.
That luckily, as far as I know, we haven't had to use in quite some time, which has made Risto and Debbie quite sad.
Yeah. As he was saying to me a while ago, if there's an incident, Frankie, watch the bucky. If I pull off to the just off the verge, and it isn't that bad. If I run the bucky right towards the accident scene, then you know that there's a possibility that it could be pretty severe. Not always, he says, but the possibility is there, and that's basically. And there they are, just behind Fire One.
Yep, and then of course our brand new safety cars provided by Apex Bets. The 2 matching, or yin and yang, black and white Maserati Gran Turismos, one being the main field safety car, and the one at the tail being the chase car, just also making sure with another medical personnel in the car with the driver, just ensuring that if anything does happen, there is a trained professional right there with the rest of the crew if need be.
And that's Vance Kearney that's pulling up. Hopefully he'll complete race 2. Laude Classic Cars, race 2, 8 laps await us shortly. It's 10-4, and we've got a few more races to go before the end of the day. See the race official just walking down the center of the circuit, making sure all the drivers are in their right grid box. Malcolm Pfeiffer just there in that yellow Alpha GT Junior. Nicholas Fourie is just ahead of him in the Golf 2. And Daniel Laude Jr. just there on his outside in the Escort. But will it be Ford? Will it be Chev? Will it be the Ford of Boetie van Zyl? Will it be the Chev Forenza Can-Am of Franco Donadio?
And as we let them go around the circuit for their formation lap before we get underway and racing for a rolling start, I just want to mention a big thank you from the Laude Classic Cars for their one of their new sponsors for the class, that being Wilson Precision Engineering. based in Brackenfell Industrial in Cape Town. They provide all kinds of services from general and precision engineering and designs to manufacturing and maintenance for high tolerance components, tools and machinery. They cater for specific automotive engineering as well as specializing in all types of welding and fabricating as well as boiler making needs. It's a family business run by Mike and Sinclair Wilson.
Oh, Mike Wilson, yes, it's...
And we just thank them as well. The Laude Classics thanks them for coming on board as a sponsor for the class.
Now, Mike's dad, Keith Wilson, used to race oval track racing many, many years ago. Sadly, he's passed away, but he was one of our top midget oval track racers back in the day with a motorcycle-powered Graphtec engineering. And, of course, Mike is the son of the late, great Keith Wilson. The silence before the storm. Chevy versus a lot of Fords. There's a Toyota, BMWs, Porsches. They're all in there for the second and last race for the Laude Classic cars. There's Aaron's Falloon as well, just behind Dave Aladef. As they work their way out of turn 5, Cape Town corner, through the kink. Jordan, take them off the line.
It feels so quiet, like we're waiting for something to occur. And the storm will occur now as the red light goes out, and away they go down towards turn number 1, Blockcoin corner. We have 8 racing laps left to go for the second heat of the Laude Classic cars. And up the inside will go the Chev Forenza of Franco Donadio. Jared Evans very quickly gets in front of Boetie van Zyl. In race number 1, they had a right ding-dong battle between the two, chopping and changing positions for that second spot overall. And now Jared has got out in front of Boetie, and not too far behind Boetie van Zyl is Jared's dad, Brian Evans, also right on the case of that bright orange Ford Fairmont.
Going pretty wide there was Malcolm Pfeiffer, but it's all about Franco Donadio, Jared Evans, Boetie van Zyl, Brian Evans, Bruce Van Taplin coming through there, Robin Smith and Wayne Lotter as the field, so Robin Forbes, I said, not Smith, and Wayne Lotter as the field works its way towards the double right-hander saddle sweep.
And wow, look at the different generations and the different styles as well as manufacturers of cars making their way down the Kalani Straight. Now, for those that don't know, there are 2 classes in this one class, being Laude Classic cars. You have pre-90s, everything from 1990 all the way down. Oh, sorry, no, I lie. 1989 all the way to 1980, and then pre-80s, which is 1979, all the way to prehistoric, if you will.
Yeah.
As they all exit down through Cape Town corner, past the City of Cape Town Bridge, and down into Blockcoin once again.
But Boetie van Zyl's having a look up on the inside of Jared Evans. Once again, the Capri versus the Fairmont as they work their way out of Blockcoin corner with the Mark 1 Escort of Brian Evans just behind them, and leading them all is Franco Donadio. Here comes Robin Forbes and the Chevy Corvette Stingray. Then behind him, Bruce Van Taplin, Wayne Lotter in there, Dave Aladef, Rob Rowe, Aaron's Falloon coming through, Vance Kearney, and behind him there is Piet Mathieu.
We watched them come into Castro corner. Still, we saw Malcolm Pfeiffer as well as Daniel Laude Jr. As they make their way around. We see within the top 5, Frankie, you've got quite a hefty sandwich. One slice of bread is the Chev Forenza, and the other slice is the Chev Stingray, Corvette Stingray of Robin Forbes, with a bunch of Ford filling in the middle.
Yeah.
But they are just too far away from the rest. It's only really Boetie van Zyl and Jared Evans that are throwing anything out on the table between themselves now. We're waiting for Brian Evans to just close that gap, and Robin Forbes is a little bit behind Brian Evans in the Escort, but the gap isn't quite closing up enough just yet.
Well, here he comes, not far behind him, and here comes the Toyota of Bruce Van Taplin and the Mark 1 Escort of Wayne Laude. Then it is 3 BMWs. As a matter of fact, it's Dave Aladef, Aaron Viljoen, and Rob Rowe as the three of them work their way towards block coin.
Down we go into block coin once again. There you see the old American TRD colors on that Toyota Corolla driven by Bruce Evan Taplin. Then you see the trio of BMW E30s, all different styles, different years, as they come out of turn number 1 block coin corner. Dancing Dave Aladef in the bright red E30, just ahead of Aaron Viljoen in that beautiful all-white crisp two-door E30, and Rob Rowe, the chairman of the Laude Classics, in the formidable BMW colors of red and blue, with I think there's a hint of purple in there, and the rest being white as they come down into Damsdip, and we follow through Sarl's sweep now with the leaders.
Yeah, here comes Brian Evans towards us. Right behind him is Robin Forbes. Then it's Bruce Evan Taplin. Then it is Wayne Laude. Then it's the trio of BMWs, Dave Aladef, Aaron Viljoen, Robert Rowe, as they head down the Killarney back straight. Vance Kearney sits in P11, not too far behind this trio of Beamers. These 3 Beamers heading down into Cape Town corner, but the leader is heading back through turn number 1, through block coin, Franco Donadio.
Yep, Franco leading a healthy lead at the moment in the red, white and green Chev Forenza. Just behind, there comes Brian Evans in the Ford Escort Mark II ahead of the Chev Stingray. That's a C3, in fact, that he is racing at this point in time. Now diving up the inside, trying to make that position stick, trying to push or nudge that E30 boxy BM of Dancing David Aladef out of the way. Here's Aaron Viljoen, and now they're going door to door, door handle to door handle. They're getting so close, widening up between themselves, trying to choose a better line, are these two. And this is maybe just giving a chance for Rob Rowe not to lose too much ground if they keep fighting, and he can still be in the chance to get ahead of them.
We just saw there that Evan Taplin is very close to Forbes. Yeah, they come down towards us, and there we go. That is Forbes and Bruce Evan Taplin. Robin Forbes and Bruce Evan Taplin, they are right nose to tail as they work their way down the Killarney Straight towards Cape Town corner, and that Stingray's got a problem. He was just blasted past there by the Toyota Sprinter of, yeah, and he's slowing right down. Robin Forbes is slowing right down. And the next man that is there in his gun sights is Warren Laude, who's now already gone past him.
Yep, that Stingray has been stung, and he will be putting himself into the pits. I saw that hand come out. There he moves over to the left-hand side into the New Jabert pits and gets himself off track. Hopefully not something terminal. It's very possible some of the guys forget to put in enough fuel for these very thirsty big V8s, and that leaves you in a bit of trouble. As we look down into block coin corner once again, it is Wayne Laude that sits out ahead of this group of 4 by quite a healthy margin, sitting in 6th overall, 7 seconds behind Bruce Evan Taplin in 5th, but then he's got the 3 BMWs just behind him.
Well, as the laps begin to unwind, Boetie van Zyl is still being kept honest here by the Capri of Jared Evans. And there was 9/10 of a second when they started this lap. They're heading towards the end of it now between Van Zyl and Evans. They're working their way down the Killarney Straight towards Cape Town corner. Have a look when they go through Cape Town corner. Yeah, that Capri is right on the case, but he went in very hot there, did Evans, but maybe he wanted to do more of a diamond line in Cape Town to get a bit of a better slingshot out of Cape Town corner to try and hunt down this thundering V8 heading into turn 1 of Boetie van Zyl, and there's now 8/10 of a second between the two of them.
And then a quite large gap from that top 3 to this man coming towards us now, that being Brian Evans, just behind him in the Corolla. That being a Bruce Evan Taplin, roaring his way by in that 4-cylinder 4AGE.
This is the leader coming through there. That is Franco Donadio. Well, he's 7 seconds ahead of Boetie van Zyl, and he's just power sliding that Chef Ferenza, he's all over the place. Boetie van Zyl has got to go now into defensive mode and keep the Capri of young Jared Evans in there behind him, and he's right on his bootlet. Jared Evans has got that Capri right under the bootlet there of Boetie van Zyl.
He makes his way around now towards the final corner. Down into Cape Town corner he goes. Boetie van Zyl has opened up a gap of what looks to be 3 car lengths now as they exit out of turn number 5. Obviously, we know the difference in size is quite extensive between these two cars, but that very number 4 Capri just needs to use those corners, and Jared Evans, for that fact, needs to use the corners to his advantage. But the power of that big V8 in that Ford Fairmont is incredibly helpful on the straights.
Well, they're on their penultimate lap now. That is Franco Donadio working his way along the Jabez Straight towards Castrol Corner. Here comes Boetie van Zyl and Jared Evans as they head into Castrol. We'll stick around with this shot so we can get the rest of the cars. There's quite a few more of them out here. Here comes Brian Evans towards us, working his way out of Blockwain. Then behind him we'll have Bruce Van Taplin coming through there in the Toyota. And then we will see Wayne Lotte, but Wayne Lotte is nearly 11 seconds behind Bruce Van Taplin. And here we go. This is going to be some fun and games, because here comes Dancing Dave Aladef. He's ahead of Lotte. And then we've got Viljoen and Rowe just in there behind them.
Yep, so that group is closing up quite hectically amongst themselves in the mid-pack. But we look as we see the leader going slowly, it seems. That's a very slow running Ferenza moving
That's
over to
a problem.
the left. That's not good for your current leader. Now no longer current leader as he moves over to the grass. Does Franco Donadio. A bit of heartbreak now on the final lap. In fact, coming to the final lap, he'll have to pull that car off to the side of the circuit.
Ah, you cannot believe it. As he was about to start, he's got a gearbox full of neutrals by the sound of things. He's found a gear which will get him going again. But it sounded like a gearbox full of neutrals there, Jordan.
Absolutely, it was just revving and revving and revving. Boetie van Zyl in turn number 2 has a big slide and he loses out to Jared Evans. We just missed that. I looked up above the screen as we see them now going down towards Dam's Dip. There we see now that's the change for position and the change for the lead.
I thought here comes a maiden victory for Boetie van Zyl, and then he gets it all wrong in Castrol Corner, and he'll be kicking himself, that's for sure. Because this is going to give the win to Jared Evans. And it's not going to be an easy task to get onto the bootlet of that Capri of Evans. So Van Zyl will have to settle for second unless something really weird happens in the last few 100 meters.
Absolutely, you can see the back markers also racing in their own race at the moment. Malcolm Pfeiffer and Daniel Lotte Jr. fighting it out at the tail end of the field. Boetie just getting in the middle of those two in the Alpha and the Escort. He just needs to get out of the way, but it's not enough. A mistake in turn 2 on the final lap has given Jared Evans the win ahead of Boetie van Zyl at the checkered flag. Malcolm Pfeiffer will beat Daniel Lotte Jr. at the line for 13th and 14th respectively, as the rest of the grid will slowly make their way through.
And looking out the window, you can see that Ferenza is in a lot of trouble here, because here comes Brian Evans to the checkered flag, and he will then finish in 3rd position. Bruce Van Taplin in the Toyota Corolla Sprinter will finish his race as we wait for the rest, Jordan, to come to the line.
And I see Franco Donadio has pulled into Park Ferme, so he will not be completing this race. However, these 3 will, and it will be Dancing Dave Aladef in the E30 that beats out Wayne Lotte in the Escort ahead of the 2nd E30 BMW and 3rd E30 BMW of Ans Viljoen and Robert Rowe.
Yeah, and that's the first 8 cars to the checkered flag. Here comes Vance Kearney, got a DNF in race 1, and he's going to finish race 2, and he will finish his race in 9th position. Piet Mathieu and Nicholas Fourie working their way to the line.
Those being the last two out on circuit. Unfortunately, we had Robin Forbes drop out with an issue, as well as your what was first race winner and almost second race winner until the last lap of Franco Donadio.
And of course, Malcolm Pfeiffer and Laude Jr. finished their race, but they were a lap down. So that will conclude Laude Classic Cars race number 2. And the quickest man out there before the car broke down with a 123.002 was Franco Donadio. A couple of replays coming through. That is the side-by-side action between Boetie van Zyl and Jared Evans. As they, once again, van Zyl and Evans, they were at each other's heels in race 1 and in race 2 for Laude Classic Cars. That is Dave this is the whole trio of BMWs. Dave Aladef, Arends Viljoen and Rob Rowe. The 3 boxy Beamers working their way out of Castrol Corner. And once again, Van Zyl and Evans. This is when he was right under that boot lid of Boetie van Zyl. And this is where we believe Franco Donadio had a gearbox full of neutrals and then eventually found a gear and then cruised into Parc Fermé to retire the Chevy Forenza. But as I said, those two never left each other alone for the entire race. That concludes that. We move on now to the Pirelli Superbikes, Superbike Challenge, 600s and Masters category.